Welcome to NACME's podcast, Innovating Forward, where we talk to inspiring people and ask, hey, what makes you tick? Join me, Christopher Greaves,
and me, Emely Evangelista,
for thoughtful conversations with visionary leaders whose fingers are firmly on the pulse of technology, business, and innovation. We hope that each of our chats leaves you with some practical wisdom that makes your life better and brings you a step or two closer to realizing your dreams.
Hello, welcome to the very first episode of Innovating Forward, a NACME Leaders Podcast. I have the pleasure of sitting here with NACME CEO and President since 2018, Michele Lezama. Michele Lezama is President and CEO of the National Action Council for Minorities in Engineering, aka NACME, a nonprofit organization with a clear yet simple vision of fostering a quote-unquote an engineering workforce that looks like America. Before jumping straight into the interview, here are some highlights of Michele's accomplished career. Before entering the nonprofit sector, Lezama was the Director of Satellite Scrambling Operations at HBO and served as the Associate Director of Broadcast Operation and System Integration at CBS. Prior to NACME, she served as a strategist for Purdue University's nationally recognized Minority Engineering Program and served as Executive Director of the National GEM Consortium, an organization dedicated to increasing the number of underrepresented graduate students in engineering and science. She also served as Executive Director of the National Society of Black Engineers, and also known as NSBE. Under her leadership, NSBE received the 2003 Presidential Award for Excellence in Science, Mathematics, and Engineering Mentoring, awarded by the White House Office of Science and Technology. Michele herself is actually a NACME scholar, earning herself a Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering from Northeastern University. She then went on to earning both her MS in Industrial Engineering and an MBA in Finance and Accounting from Columbia University. She is married to Ricardo Lezama, and the couple has 2 adult daughters. And fun fact, Michele and I are actually from the same neighborhood in Brooklyn. So hello, Michele. How are you today?
I'm outstanding, Emily. Thank you for that warm introduction.
Thank you for joining us today. Your bio is quite extensive, so I want to congratulate you on all of your accomplishments, first of all.
Thank you.
Not so bad for a girl from Brooklyn, right? But I guess the first question that immediately popped into my mind is, tell me, what is it that drew you to a career in a field of engineering?
Great question. First of all, I'm originally from the Bronx. All the New Yorkers out there who know where I'm from will be like, oh, you gave up the Bronx. I'm originally from the South Bronx. And as an adult, I lived in Brooklyn. I went to Brooklyn Technical High School, which is a magnet school in New York City, one of 3 of the top ones. And that's how I first got introduced into engineering. But I really, even going to high school, I've been a math head from day one. Really loved math. And because of my socioeconomic background, I really didn't have those professional role models. So those who were professionals around me were teachers, and I really wanted to be a math teacher. And it was my mother who looked up, this is before the internet, looked up the salaries of teachers and tried to find other careers that were math-based. And based on the fact that we knew that I was going to go to college on loans because we didn't have the money to pay for it, she really wanted to find me a career, as she said, that after I paid off the loans, I would be able to support myself. So she forced me to go into engineering. And I stayed in engineering because of the NSBE chapter. Once I got to Northeastern University, I met other Black students on campus, and we really created a family on that campus. So I stumbled into engineering. It wasn't something like, I wanted to be an engineer.
Yeah, I totally get that. I feel like the field of engineering is very underrepresented. Before getting into the field of engineering, what did you think it meant to be an engineer? Even if you haven't heard of the field, or if you did very slightly, what was your idea of it?
First of all, it was the best decision that I ended up making. And I really encourage anyone that's listening to this podcast that's thinking about navigating what kind of career they should go into, or if you're a parent or a mentor of someone that's making that decision. Engineering is phenomenal. It provides access to so many different careers, so many different opportunities. And particularly today, technology is moving so fast. So to be able to have a technical background really gives you access to so many different things. Had I pursued the path of being a math teacher, I would not be able to become an engineer later on in life. versus now with the engineering foundation, I can still go into teaching. I can still teach math. So it's a great career that allows you to do so many things.
That's really good. Still shout out to the teachers. We still need some math teachers out there inspiring the students.
I really think the importance of mentoring, being a role model for the alumni out there, we really need you because teachers make a difference, such a difference in people's career trajectories. So you're right.
For sure. You briefly touched on how engineering opens up so many fields and you encourage people to go into engineering. So what was something that surprised you about engineering when you first started your career? I feel like when you first start off college with a major, everybody has their expectations or just their very basic concept of what they think their major will get them into. So what has surprised you from that, from your experience?
To be transparent, as a high school student, 16 years old, I had to commute an hour and a half from the train. You know about this, to go to high school. And so I associated engineering with the person that drove the train because commercially it was like an engineer was the person that kind of ran the train system. I was like, I don't want to do that. And then my next thought as I got a little bit older is that I assumed that engineers were nerdy, weren't really connected to real life solutions. And it wasn't until I had my first internship, my first co-op, and I actually got to work in engineering. And I understood that the people who were engineers were really the idea makers. They were the people on the front end of solving problems, of creating new products. And the innovation of that was truly surprising, but also very exciting.
That's really cool. I think that, yes, engineers get credit, but they don't get enough credit for all the new ideas. I feel like everything that we have right now, from the buildings to the technology we're using to record this, was made by an engineer, thought of an engineer.
Absolutely. If you think about the phone that you carry around with you, it's really a smart computer that's in everyone's hands, right? The smart systems in our houses now, the technology, the computers, everything that we touch started with an idea from an engineer.
So it sounds like something that really shocked you about the field is just how creative it is. I feel like a lot of people associate creativity with just the art world of painting, drawing, a lot of the physical arts, but not much on engineering and how creative an engineer has to be. I think a lot of people think of engineers as very technical thinkers.
I completely agree. Like what you do, and even in this podcast world, so marketing, the ability to think about how to convey thoughts, how to be able to get information out there. Those are the creative thinkers. There's a term called STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and that art, architecture, art medium, and then math, because it's critical to have all kinds of thinkers involved in providing outcomes. But the technologists, the engineers in that part is definitely a creative piece as well.
Yes, for sure. I totally understand that. You did mention you going on your first internship, and that was what really gave you your first idea of what the field of engineering really consisted of. So what were some growing pains you experienced throughout the trajectory of your career?
Imposter syndrome. Like, even though I was really strong in math and I was always analytical and people always told me I was smart, it was intimidating coming from my neighborhood into the professional world to understand the ebb and flow of how to communicate your ideas and to be heard. And to be honest, it's still scary in certain settings. So that's why a part of what we do at NACME is to really focus on those early experiences, industrial experiences, whether it's an externship, a week or less long experience where you get an opportunity to get exposure to a company.
And I hate to date you. I really do. But could you speak on, let's just say Michelle's a seasoned professional. But could you just speak on what your experience was like? You spoke on your imposter syndrome, but could you speak on what your experience was like being a Black woman in the field of engineering in the 80s? You were probably the only person in the room. I don't have much of a other word to describe you as a trailblazer, because you probably were many times probably the first one in your position to hold, of a person, a Black woman, to hold your position in a lot of these companies and corporate worlds. How was that?
No, it's so funny. It's a great question, and it's okay to date me. Like in the 80s is when hip hop was created. Like now it's like the 50th anniversary of hip hop, right? So, being from the Bronx, Curtis Blow. Have you ever heard of the name Curtis Blow?
Now you're dating me. No.
I was really engaged in the origins of hip hop and music and the creation of music, and tying that to technology was a big thing back then as well, which is why I think I was engaged with CBS and HBO. Just the whole engineering of broadcasting and getting music and content across was really exciting. But no, the rooms that I entered were definitely no females, no Black people, no Hispanics. The Bronx was very much Black and Hispanic. We were one big community. But when I went into those corporate roles, I was the one and only. Mm-hmm. And that was very difficult to navigate.
So you represent New York really proudly in your work, and I love to see that. I feel like that's a trait that many of us have. So how do you bring your authentic self to work? So how did you represent New York, make sure that you represented where you're from, your roots in these corporate spaces? How did you make room for it?
I really focused on being authentic in every role that I was blessed to have access to. I am who I am, and no one else can be me. And I think bringing authenticity into the workplace not only helps me perform because I'm not focusing on code switching, but it also helps others, right? To learn that people from different backgrounds bring different perspectives, but they also bring excellence, regardless of our backgrounds. And that's been my mantra since day one. For one reason is that I can't get out of the accent. So not be able to share some of my background with others in all kind of different settings.
Yeah, I totally understand. I feel like when I first started college, I went away for college. I didn't stay in New York. I think that's like the first thing people always point out. Oh, you're from New York. Oh, and it's not really something that when you're back home, people point out like, oh, you have a really strong accent, or, oh, you're from this neighborhood. It's really secondhand. So when you put yourself in a space where I guess you're the different one, you're the unicorn, yeah, it could make you self-conscious in a way. So how can you give advice on developing confidence in the field, or just developing confidence to be yourself in any space, truly, where you're different?
Yeah, first of all, I want to relate to what you just said. I went to school, I'm from New York City, and I went to school in Boston, Northeastern University. And their accent is the polar opposite of ours, right? So my roommate, who was from South Boston, she would say she's parking her car in Harvard Yard, where I was parking my car in Harvard Yard. So it was like, and that experience of being her roommate, was still close friends to this day, helped with that authentic walk, right? Even though we were from drastically different backgrounds, we respected each other's intelligence. We respected each other's, what we brought to the table. And just having that experience of leaving home, going to college, living in a dorm with someone I didn't know that had a completely different background, helped me realize I'm smart. She's smart. We're bringing similar things to the table. And I point to the internships again, when I didn't really know that the environment expected me to not be authentic because I was young, and I'm walking into the internship, hey, how are you? And I was able to perform with technical excellence. It really helped me enter into rooms being myself. Now, arguably, there's some pros and cons to that. So I think there's some rooms that I've done a better job at helping people understand differences first. But I really lean into authenticity. You can present yourself as a professional and still be yourself.
So Michele's number one advice is be yourself no matter the circumstance.
Be professional, be polished, understand the room. If you were to work in Silicon Valley, a gray t-shirt is what you should wear. If you're working in a more conservative firm, a law firm, or what we think of as conservative, you can still be yourself and present yourself relevant to that environment.
Yeah, so audience, heed Michele's advice. So I did mention in your bio that you are a NACME scholar, or you were a NACME scholar. So did you know anything about NACME before you became a scholar? Or like, when did exactly you got an idea or concept of what exactly NACME was?
So I had no idea what NACME was before I got the scholarship. I can share that I was raised in a single family household in a very low socioeconomic environment, as I said earlier. My mother had a unique partnership with my paternal grandparents to raise me. And when they were working together, like, how are we going to get her into college when we can't afford it? Receiving the notice on the NACME scholarship was a game changer, because we were debating whether I should go to community college first. And there's nothing wrong with going to community college. It's a great pathway. We were thinking about me working in retail for 2 years to save money before going to college. Getting that notification that I was going to become a NACME scholar allowed not only me, but more importantly, my parents, my guardians, to say, okay, we could figure this out. So maybe she can go directly so that she'll be the same age as her other classmates. Even though I didn't know anything about the NACME scholarship, it really changed my trajectory for having access to a 4-year collegiate program where I otherwise would not have it. And same is true today. The cost of college has gone up so high. Families are still making those hard decisions. So we want talent across the country to major in engineering or computer science, but they need access. So being able to have a renewable scholarship, not just a one-time scholarship, but a renewable scholarship, really allows families to think about, how can my student achieve this 4-year goal?
Yes, I totally relate, actually, because that financial aspect was a really big aspect to deciding on college, especially because I went to a predominantly white high school. My peers weren't really concerned about the financial aspect. I think the only aspect they really cared about when it came to high school to senior year was, do I get in? Do I get into my dream school? As soon as they got into their dream school, that was the only concern in their mind. Like, okay, I'm articulating. But me, on the other hand, I'm like, wait, I gotta wait for my financial aid package because I gotta see if I can afford going to school first. Yeah, you touched on a really big part of why NACME exists, is to help those families make a decision, not have to sacrifice age, or not having to sacrifice delaying your education just to afford college. So we keep mentioning NACME scholars. So I think we should explain to the audience what exactly is a NACME scholar and, like, why are they so special? Aside from just receiving the scholarship, why is it such an accolade to be a NACME scholar?
Great question. So NACME scholars, first, to even be selected, you're a tier. It's a recognition of your academic performance coming into college or early starting college. So our university representatives, for the most part, nominate students to become a NACME scholar. And from there, you're a part of a network. You're part of a national program where we have designed workshops, training, networking opportunities that allow students not only to excel technically, but gives them access to the soft skill development that will make a huge difference in their career. So what do I mean by that? We provide professional development workshops, from how to write a resume, how to create a competitive LinkedIn page. We provide educational opportunities outside the classroom, like boot camps, where you can receive the content, educational content, to pass a certification, a technical certification, which a part of our research shows having a degree and certification is critical to having access to competitive opportunities in 2023. And we give you access to very senior level executives in our nation's leading companies to be able to network with, to understand that they're real people, to be able to get mentorship. And you will now have access to alumni network, because we're coming up on our 50th anniversary this year. And we have a very strong alumni base out there. And the ability for a young student to be able to meet someone that's been in engineering for a number of years to provide that mentorship is phenomenal. So not only do you receive scholarship dollars, but you get access to training, mentorship, and networking.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like NACME scholars are some cream of the crop out there. So I had mentioned that in your bio, NACME's slogan or motto is having an engineering workforce that looks like America. So why is that so important? Why is NACME's mission so important? What is the value proposition of diversity to corporate America?
So if America wants to stay competitive or arguably become competitive, it has to embrace all of its talent in the country to engage in technology. The future is very bright for this country, and it's very bright for those who are engaged in competitive fields. And with the world as it is today and where we're headed as a country, if we don't embrace everyone to at least consider these competitive fields, then the country is at risk of falling further behind. So NACME's mission is an engineering workforce that looks like America, is inclusive. It's a way to say, how can we make sure that everyone in this country that wants to raise their hand and say, I want to give engineering a try, has the ability and has access. And it's imperative. It's absolutely imperative that we as a nation, NACME as an organization, but everyone around us embraces the fact that we really need all of our talent, all of America's talent, to embrace in these competitive fields.
That's an amazing answer. I feel like, especially now, we're existing in a time where the value of diversity is constantly being questioned. And so I think something I really appreciate about NACME is the effort is not only coming from NACME, it's coming from all ends. We work with students, we work with corporations, we work with our alumni network, and we work within ourselves, the NACME team, to make it all happen. What is the relationship that NACME has with corporations in the United States? And for any corporations that may be out there listening or somebody who's interested, how can corporations get involved or have even more of an impact in the work that we're doing now?
So NACME is a 501c3 organization, a nonprofit organization, and we are run by a board of directors, all of whom, or most of whom, are senior executives, C-suite executives from our nation's leading technically based corporations. These executives come together on a quarterly basis to try to determine what the forward solutions should be to ensure that we're engaging all of our nation's talent in engineering and computer science. A big part of what we do is research. We look at the data to determine who's majoring in engineering, how long does it take them to graduate, what are the reasons that they drop out or they succeed, what are the reasons why students don't go into engineering. And that research tells us that financial is still the number one reason why students don't go into engineering. And these companies also want to hire talent. So as a result of the think tank outcomes that we have, they also have access to NACME scholars. So if you're a company and you're thinking about how can I be a part of the solution, NACME is a great organization for you to consider joining. And you will also be contributing to helping students like myself, a lot of students out there who want to be able to major in engineering or computer science but don't have the financial means. And you have access to the top talent in this country through our career fairs, our job postings, and other recruiting avenues to be able to recruit NACME scholars to work in your organization. So I strongly encourage you to reach out to us at info@nacme.org or contributions@nacme.org. Send us an email and we'll be happy to reach out to you and talk about joining.
Yes, we're very responsive. So when describing an NACME scholar, you briefly touched on some of the programs that NACME offers, whether it be through mentorships, whether it be through externships, internships. I want to highlight some of the exciting programs that you currently have and also looking forward to this year. What are some exciting programs that our listeners can look forward to in the near future?
Oh, we have some great programs. Like you just said, let me just reiterate that. From an employment standpoint, to have access to real jobs before you graduate at a higher salary rate than that retail job that I was thinking about doing. You get access to externships, which gives you a preview of where you can work. And then internships, where you're paid at a almost equivalent to a full-time engineer's salary over the summer. So you have early access to companies if you become a part of the NACME scholarship program. We have educational experiences during the summer. We have a national virtual bridge program to help students who are seniors in high school or just entering their collegiate program to get early access to the classes that typically are the most difficult, like calculus and physics, to make sure that your first term in an engineering program is a successful one. We have boot camps highlighting educational opportunities on cutting edge fields like engineering design, data science, machine learning. Well, I can go on and on about our great programs. We have Case Academy, Career Accelerator in Science and Engineering, which is workshops that we offer weekly on professional development and technical development topics. So we have a lot of programs. I encourage you to go to our website, www.nacme.org, to learn more.
Yes, it's definitely check out our website. We got a lot of exciting stuff going on there, and even more exciting stuff as we're going on our 50th, right? So the podcast is a way of also introducing or starting our 50th year with a bang. And with that coming out, we also have our 50th gala in October, which I'm personally really excited about. I know you're also excited about. So as president of NACME, what are some of your hopes and dreams, or what is the legacy you actually want to leave with NACME, or you hope to leave?
I'm excited that this is our 50th anniversary, and I really hope that we will have a lot of engagement. We want anyone that received a NACME scholarship over our 50-year history to join us for our 50th anniversary gala, and we'll have a host of alumni activities as well. It's going to be held in Houston, Texas. So as an alumni myself, I hope that a part of my legacy is not only making sure that NACME offered that upskilling educational content to students who are interested in delving in further in the field, that we increased our scholarship position as far as the number of students who received a NACME scholarship and the dollar amount per scholarship. But lastly, that alumni piece. If we can encourage those who benefited from the scholarship to come back and engage with us during events and to serve as mentors to current students, I will feel that it was a job well done. So I encourage everyone, any stakeholder, corporations, alumni, students, university reps, join us in Houston in October 17th through 18th for what's sure to be an outstanding celebration, NACME 50.
Yes, you don't have to become president of NACME in order to be involved. But I am coming up on my last few questions. What are your favorite moments at NACME? What have been some of your favorite moments? Has it been interacting with students? Is there a certain program that you're just like, yeah, this is exactly why I did this? Or what was that moment for you?
I have to say that I really get excited with every student that I'm honored. I get the opportunity to talk to, just really understand what they're thinking about and how NACME can help them. We just concluded a phenomenal gala in Washington, D.C., and a bunch of students who received a special $5,000 scholarship. We all got out on the floor together and did the electric slide. That's not typical of a NACME president and CEO, but just to be able to celebrate with students, knowing how much a difference that made to receive that special scholarship and to get those hugs and to say thank you, those are the moments that I live for. And that's the fulfillment that makes me tick, knowing that through working together with corporate executives that we're making a huge difference in students' lives.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was a great time at the 49 Gala. I think everyone truly enjoyed themselves. Once again, alumni, don't miss out on that fun. Alumni, students as well. As we mentioned before, our 50th Gala is in Houston, Texas in October. So there's a lot of time to start planning, getting your gala attire ready. I thought you did mention that you didn't really understand what was NACME when you first started. Did you ever envision yourself becoming CEO of the organization? Like, how did you even get here?
It's amazing that I'm president and CEO of NACME. I never even remotely dream that way. And I tell students all the time, dream big because you're smart and you have access to the world. And don't let imposter syndrome or anyone tell you differently. You can do whatever you want to do. My predecessors at NACME are pivotal leaders in this country. We just lost two of them, Dr. Irving McPhail, who used to be a president of a community college, and we just lost Dr. John Slaughter, who was at one time president of the National Science Foundation. So I fill very big shoes, and I arguably cannot fill the legacy that they left. But they both instilled in me the fact that we are here to make a difference. And I think that through my career trajectory, what I learned from students, from what I learned from my predecessors, is really helping us as a network make a difference. So no, I never thought I would be president and CEO, but I want anyone that's a student now listening to think you too can be at the top of your field no matter what path you choose to do.
Wow, once again, you dropped me some very inspiring words this episode. So you spoke a lot about the future of engineering, especially when it comes to diversity and the importance of diversity. So what are some trends that you see in the field of engineering and computer science?
The trends in the industry are exploding right now, from artificial intelligence to data mining to cloud computing to innovations in transportation. You name it, engineering and computer science are the fields to get into based on what's happening around us, what our board companies are all involved in from a technology standpoint is mind-blowing exciting. It's the days of the pocket protector engineer are gone. Being a part of an engineering team, being a part of design, being a part of innovation, there's so much going on right now that I would keep saying the same words, but I really encourage people to dive deep because there is so much opportunity in the market.
Yeah, with ChatGPT, I think there's a new program out every day. It's really hard to keep up sometimes, but thank you to the people who are out there inventing it. There's the great minds. I mean, but I think we're actually approaching the end of our time, unfortunately. But once again, thank you for joining us today and sitting here with me, letting me pick your brain a little bit. And I just have to close with one final request, one final question. And my question is, what are some words of wisdom that you wish someone had shared with you when you first started your career?
My words of wisdom that I would have liked when I started my career is to go for excellence. There's no limitation. There's no perception based on where you're from on what you can do. Dream big, be authentic, and go for it.
What is the phrase that they say? Shoot for the stars, aim for the moon. You'll hit up there somewhere. So yeah, one final time, thank you so much, Michele, for sitting with me here again. It was amazing. You truly dropped quite some gems. And thank you to the listeners as well for hearing us and our conversation. I hope you guys all learned something today. I hope Michele inspired you to go chase your dreams or at least gave you some insight on what it is exactly to be an engineer or surprise you with something today. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for today. Thank you once again, and make sure to tune in for the next episode. We got some really exciting guests.
Thank you, Emely. Did a phenomenal job. You made me feel so comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you, Michele. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to see more from us, please like, subscribe, and don't forget to follow NACME on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Visit us at NACME.org to learn more about corporate partnership opportunities and NACME programs.